Hello. Yeah, decided to start doing a little review-ish, reaction-y vlog series. Not entirely sure if it's actually going to be a series, or if this will just be the only one, but I will try to do it. A couple of things. One, I am not editing this, at all. I have an idea of how to do the mechanics of editing, but I'm not very confident in my ability to, make it, cool or interesting or accidentally not doing the right thing. Never mind. But anyway, this was all one take. This is the first take, and so you're gonna have to live with it, and maybe I'll do editing stuff later. When I'm going to review stuff, I'm only doing stuff that I have seen more than once. So, it's my rationale behind this is because, yes, I love something the first time I see it, but I would then later forget about it and not really think about it ever again. And I want to do something that focuses on things that I must love so much that months later I am still thinking about it, and thinking about it so much that I want to go back and revisit because it was so awesome. I will be spoiling things, so yes, if you don't like spoilers, go away. And yeah, I'm not gonna really limit this to one particular thing like movies or TV or books or... I like all kinds of stuff, and this time I'm actually going to start with a fanfiction series by Anakin, aka Obi-Quiet. Obi, spelled Obi-I as in Obi-Wan Kenobi. I rather like that. And she has fanfiction. It will be a trilogy eventually. It is not yet. We're partway through part 2. The first part is called Hindsight is Not Perfect. The second part, which is about twice as long as the first part, is called Dangers of Foresight. And the third part, I have no idea what it'll be called. Like, the Demons of Parasites. I don't know. But, yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen in the third thing, so... even though it is incomplete, I still want to talk about it because it's pretty awesome. The basic idea is the time travel story, where someone goes back in time to relive their life. I really, really, really love this kind of plot. It's technically, well, maybe not technically because it's not a very technical term, but people on the internet call this kind of fanfiction Peggy Sue fanfiction. Not to be confused with Mary Sue, because that is bad and Peggy Sue is awesome. For me, at least. But anyway, Anne Camp's story is about Anakin in particular. After he's died, and he, through Obi-Wan's ghost, basically sacrifices himself along with a bunch of other Jedi to send Anakin way back in time to about a week before the first movie starts. So you've got this kid who's actually 40 years old, well, older than that. I actually thought he was 60, but actually I looked it up. He's in his 40s. I didn't know that. But anyway, he goes back in time to when he's 9 years old, and he's my mom's alive, and Padme's alive, but what should I do to make sure that they stay alive? And... at first he's just trying to figure out what the heck should I just do about this. And eventually he just decides to go along with the whole, what happens in the first movie, where he actually goes with Qui-Gon and goes to become a Jedi. And, since he's a 9-year-old kid, people aren't going to take him too seriously. And they're going to notice that he's a little off. And so Anakin has to try and convince people to, 1, listen to him, and 2, not lock him up because he's got obvious amounts of dark side training. So, yeah, the first book, Hindsight is Not Perfect, it ends right about same timeline as the end of the first movie, and it ends dun, 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 with him falling to the dark side, even though he's trying really, really hard not to. But it's like Padme is attacked, and he assumes that she's dead because he saw it in a vision, and fortunately she's not quite dead, and he comes back from the dark side, but it's still really, really hard for him to not fall to the dark side. And then we get into part 2, which kind of includes elements of the second movie, but is still set like 3 months after the first movie ended instead of years later. But this one, I prefer it a little bit more to the first one, just because it's longer, one, and it has some of my favorite bits. One of my favorite bits is just the fact that Anakin finally finds someone to take him seriously, but in order to... yeah. Let me just tell you who it is. Count Dooku. Right before, right after Dooku goes off to be all contemplative of, like, these Jedi are corrupt and Anakin contacts him before Palpatine can get his hands on him. And Anakin is pretty much more himself than with anybody in the whole series than when he is with Dooku. Like, he wears a mask, he has mechanical limbs, so he doesn't look like a 9-year-old kid, and it's just great, like, all the stuff that they talk about, I just love those conversations. Also, one of my favorite parts would be the fact that in Book 2, Anakin starts therapy. And you might not think that sounds that great, but it is. Because the whole character development of Anakin trying really, really hard not to fall to the dark side again. And he's just conflicted, and the therapists, they only think that he's got problems being a slave, but it's just, like, when he's just he's got 2 therapists, actually. When they were realizing this kid is way more mature than he should be, and just, what the heck do we do with him? And it's just great. And, like, just seeing Anakin progress, just making progress from, like, at the beginning, he's just not interested in therapy at all. He does not need it, and what the heck, people, why are you making me do this? And as he slowly gets more and more, especially with Girth, he's my favorite character in this whole thing. He's one of the therapists. He's the one that is not actually a Jedi. He's the one that's more open to various other kinds of philosophies and whatnot. But anyway, he's just taking Anakin along this, like, exploring his relationships and slowly getting him to open up. And he's, like, in a better mood right after he's in therapy, and it's just slowly getting better and better. Right now, the latest chapter is chapter 19, and this is one where he's made major progress. Like, he has finally decided to open up, like, instead of, like, playing with the protocol droid supposed to deal with all the things that he can't talk to an actual person. He's just messing with the robot, just seeing what he can do. He finally decides to reset the robot and actually see what he can do to stop him from having all these problems. He finally realizes, oh my gosh, I'm actually really messed up. I actually need therapy and whatnot. But there's a little hiccup. If he starts actually letting go his emotions, he might start getting a little too dark-sidey, and when he channels the dark side, then he brings on the notice of Palpatine. Palpatine can feel him only when he's channeling the dark side. So he asks Yoda for help, and Yoda hasn't said yes yet, but I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. So we'll have to see where that goes in the next update, whenever that is. But whatever. I just remembered another awesome bit. Every single time that there's a Palpatine scene, I love those scenes because I can just laugh at him really, really hard. Because Palpatine is just like, why aren't my plans working? I should have been able to foresee everything. What am I missing? And I'm like, it's a 9-year-old kid. He's totally messing up your plans, and you don't even know it's him. He's barely even on your radar, period. So, yes. It's just like, yes. Yeah, so, anyway, I really love this fanfiction, and I really hope that Miss Anne Camps, aka Obi-Quiet, finishes it and finishes it well. I have every hope and confidence in her that she will do well because of just how delightful it's been so far. And yeah, good luck, Anne. Just give us a good story and update as soon as you can, please. Okay, I didn't really think of any sign-off-y type things, so goodbye. I'm turning this off now.